Welcome to The Explainer. Have you ever hired a lawyer and just felt like you didn't know the rules of the game? Well, guess what? There is an official rule book they have to follow. And today, we're basically going to give you the owner's manual for that relationship.
We're going to take all that dense legal gobbledygook and turn it into a super practical guide, one that puts you, the client, right in the driver's seat. All right, let's dive in. Okay, so our journey starts right where yours probably does, right? You see an ad on TV, maybe a big billboard, and you start thinking, maybe I need a lawyer. But here's the thing you might not know. There are some really strict rules about what those ads can, and more importantly, what they can't say.
And what's so cool about this is how these rules are all designed to protect you from being misled. Like, an ad can't just promise you $1 million result or make some crazy claim they can't prove. And get this. See the points about paid testimonials and simulations? If that's an actor pretending to be a happy client, or if they're reenacting an event, the ad has to tell you. It's all about making sure you get honesty right from that very first impression.
And this quote right here, it's not just a suggestion. In most cases, it's required to be in the ad. It really gets to the heart of the matter. The rules themselves are basically yelling at you, hey, look past the slick commercial and do your homework because, this is a really big decision.
Okay, so you've done the research, you've looked past the flashy ads, and you've picked your lawyer. Great. So what happens next? Well, now it's all about building the foundation of your relationship, and that starts with a really clear agreement.
First things first, the number one promise, the baseline for any client relationship, is competence. Your lawyer has to have the skills and the knowledge for your specific case. And if they don't, well, they have two choices. Either they gotta hit the books and get up to speed, or they have to bring in another lawyer who is an expert. No faking it till you make it allowed.
Okay, this next one is a phrase you really need to remember: informed consent. This is so important. This isn't about you just kind of nodding along while your lawyer talks. No. It means your lawyer has a duty, an obligation, to explain the entire game plan, the potential risks, and what all your other options are. It's only after all that you can give a real, truly informed yes to the big decisions in your case.
All right, let's talk about the thing everyone thinks about: money. The rules on fees are all about one thing: clarity, no surprises. And you'll usually see one of two setups. There's the fixed fee, that's a flat rate for a specific job, like drafting a will. And then there's the contingent fee, which you see a lot in injury cases. That just means the lawyer gets paid a percentage of whatever money you win.
So what stops a lawyer from just charging some insane, outrageous fee? Well, the magic word here is reasonable. The fee has to be reasonable. And to figure out what that means, the rules give us this awesome 8-factor test. It looks at everything from how much work it takes to how tricky the case is, to the lawyer's own experience, and even the results they got for you. It's basically a built-in fairness check, which is pretty cool.
All right, you've got your lawyer, you've agreed on the fee, but what's this whole relationship supposed to feel like on a day-to-day basis, We can actually boil the whole thing down to 3 core fundamental promises. Just 3, but these 3 ideas, they are the absolute heart of the entire rulebook. They're designed to make sure your lawyer holds up their end of the bargain from the beginning of your case to the very end. Promise number 1 is diligence, and that's just a fancy way of saying your lawyer has to, actually work on your case. They have to act promptly and show a real commitment to what's best for you. Pretty simple, right? And I gotta say, I love this next part, because the official comment on this rule is surprisingly blunt. It basically says, hey, we know procrastination from a lawyer is one of the most infuriating things a client can go through. Think about that. Unreasonable delays don't just mess up your case, they completely shred your trust. The rulebook itself totally gets it. Okay, promise number 2 is all about communication. You have a fundamental right not to be left in the dark, wondering what's going on. Your lawyer has to keep you in the loop, answer your questions reasonably quickly, and, this is key, explain things in a way you can actually understand. Bottom line, no ghosting allowed. And then there's promise number 3. This is the one everyone knows from every movie and TV show ever, right? Confidentiality. This is the absolute cornerstone of the lawyer-client relationship. It's the reason you can be totally, 100% honest with your lawyer, knowing that what you say stays in that room. But, and this is a really big but that the movies usually leave out, this confidentiality isn't absolute. There are a few very specific, very narrow exceptions. For example, a lawyer is allowed to break confidence to prevent someone from being killed or seriously hurt. Or, let's say you get into a dispute with them over their bill. They can use some information to defend themselves. These are super rare, really high-stakes situations where a higher duty comes first.
All right, last but not least, let's talk about maybe the biggest protection of all. This is the rule that makes absolutely sure your lawyer is 100% on your team and nobody else's.
So, can your lawyer work for the person you're up against? That's the heart of what's called a conflict of interest. And let me tell you, the rules are incredibly strict about preventing this from ever happening. Now, it's interesting. This duty of loyalty works a little differently depending on your status. If you're a current client, the protection is like a steel wall. Your lawyer simply cannot represent someone who's directly against you, period. Now, for a former client, it's more about protecting your old secrets. Your old lawyer can't just turn around and take a new case against you if it's tied to your old one, especially if they could use your confidential info to help their new client. So what's the big takeaway here? It's this. This rulebook isn't some secret manual just for lawyers. It is your Bill of Rights as a client. It's there to promise you competence, communication, confidentiality, and most of all, loyalty. It's all designed to give you power and confidence as you navigate the legal system. When you understand this framework, you stop being just a passive passenger. You become an informed partner in your own legal journey. So think about it. The next time you're looking for a lawyer, knowing all of this, what's the number one quality you're going to be looking for?